There we go. Clap break. All right. So I don't know if y'all have heard about this video that is going around, but it essentially is called "God Let Trump Rise Again for One Reason: to expose white America." Hashtag Africa Rising. Hashtag Africa. So let that be what it may, but maybe I could have left that last part out because I don't want no biases. But the point is, God let Trump rise again for one reason: to expose white America. First, that title. What do y'all think when you hear that title, that God let Trump rise again? Before you even hear what this person thinks the reason is, God let Trump rise again.
For sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now, what about the reason being to expose white America?
I don't think that's the only reason.
Okay.
And I think that it is less about exposing white America as it is about exposing, dare I say, evil? Dare I say, yeah. That encapsulates a lot.
Yeah. You spell them? Where's you in deep thought? You still thinking? Or you
no. I was fortunate enough to see what you had sent earlier, and going back to biblical principles that I understand, right? And let me make sure I say that the views and points by Razor are Razors and Razor alone. They're not to be judged from WVAI, the board of directors, or
anybody sitting in the room with them.
Right?
Damani got you covered. Damani already said.
So this is the thing. Let's say, for instance, we were to call Trump's actions that of the devil, right? There is nothing that happens that God doesn't allow. Now, in my belief, I've heard, because I didn't get into church when I was early, I learned later on in life that, devil was cast out of heaven and gone to hell and this, that, and the other, right? But when you read Job, he comes into the counsel of God and they have a conversation. And he's allowed to go to and fro trying to get those that he can devour. So, in my mind, the devil is here, or the devil's actions are here to expose the hearts of man. And that's something that people don't look at, is that it's not that the devil is part of God's plan, but God allowed the devil in his actions to show the impurities of man. So it's easier for people to blame an entity and say, this is what's bad, this is what's not good, right? But there are a lot of things that, unfortunately, Trump has done and shown that once he does them or says them, you get a chance to see how people act, how people think, how people react to situations, right? So now you got one man doing something, but then you got thousands showing their reaction. Now, and most of the things that he does, their actions of people, are things that they were covering up and hiding because there was no room for it to come out. So I actually am thankful that we have an entity, be his name Trump, be his name whatever, that will show you just how your neighbor thinks. Right? So, and so if I was to equate what he does to the devil because of what you're at, because of the title, it's the devil is the prosecutor. Jesus is the one standing in the midst, vowing for us, right? So when you look at the story of Job, it's showing you that the devil is only showing you what's there. He can tempt all he wants. If it's not there, it's not going to take the trap. So that's the way I look at it.
Can I add on to my answer real quick, just to give a more full answer? You don't mind?
Yeah, and I got to follow up too.
So I think the first thing that I want to say, much more thoughtful answer, is that first, if you read your Bible, and secondly, if you believe what you read, then much of what is happening in the United States, but in the world in general, is prophesies in the end times. These things are supposed to happen, and they are going to get worse. And this is why it is important for those who have faith in God to have to be 10 toes down in that, because it will get worse, and it will you will be tempted to fall to the wayside. And so your strength in God needs to be steadfast. That's the first thing. Second thing is that we have to understand that one of the things I want to bring a point to is that all things that are bad in the United States are not being caused by Trump. What is happening in the world is, again, just the loss of morals. It's confusion. It's bigotry, is bias, is race, and he is not the cause of all of those things. We can't put that on him, right? We as a people are also corruptible people, and so we are equally contributing to those things. Trump can't do what Trump is doing to the degree he is unless he has followers to be able to support him in those things. And then I would say that the actions that he's taken, just the way he is as a human being, and what it invokes or provokes out of people, may be less about doing the devil's work or doing evil, and more about, again, what is prophesied to happen in our world, but to also give an opportunity to your Christians who are the salt of the earth to be able to be a light set upon a hill. We can get real biblical if you want to, but to activate in this moment, to be examples of Christ, of God here on the earth. Because we have more power than we believe, and there's a lot of things that are within our control if our faith is in God, and if we are worshiping him in spirit and in truth and representing him in the world, right? And so you want to talk about changing things. We talk about meetings and groups and this and that. Pray together, right? Like prayer changes things. And so it is, I think it is equally about the prophecy coming to fruition and the opportunity for souls to get saved, for those who consider themselves to be Christians and who work and who serve God to stand on the wall and do what is expected of them based on what's in their Bible in these times. Yeah.
Did she just take us to Bible study? Okay.
All the way.
All right.
The Bible.
So y'all bring so many more questions, thank you for the answers, but it also arose some questions within me as well. And because one thing that I hear a lot is we have lost our morality as a country. Now, while that may be true, the question is, who is the morale police, right? Because what I don't get, though, is how a conservative Republican voter who will vote against feeding hungry children or will vote against women's health care somehow think that they have the morale. But then on the flip side, you have, folks on the other side who say, everybody should be able to do what they want to do, because it's their right, it's their choice, but it don't matter what it is, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if they are in charge of what good morale is either. So that always kind of bothers me of when we think about the country's morality. Because I, for one, too, am I believe God is universal. I believe the creator is the universe. I believe, that he is the beginning. He, she, it don't matter, is the beginning and the end, created all things. So in that, I believe that there's people who believe but because of their culture and their language, their worship may look different.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't believe that God is upset with that. So I also think it's dangerous when we somehow make America a quote unquote Christian nation and then be like, y'all gotta listen to us and we have a right to come in and take your land and we have a right to, you know, like to rape and pillage your village because somehow we are in charge of the world's morale. Like that's the dangerous part to me. And the thing is, so many people that voted for Trump believe that they are bringing good morale back to the country by voting for him.
Yeah.
Not that
Confusion.
not that it's God's judgment, but they think he's right and he's good.
Right.
Like that's what blows my mind.
Which speaks to how lost and confused these people really are. And the thing that I don't understand for these people who claim to be Christians but are out doing these exact things that you gave examples of, Charles, is that in no way does your Bible tell you that is what it means to be a Christian. Because you're supposed to love your brother like yourself, and you're supposed to be slow to anger, and you're supposed to have patience, and you're supposed to in no way, like the list really goes on and on. You want a description of what a Christian should be?
Yeah.
Open your Bible and you can literally read it word for word, and it is none of those things.
Right.
None of the things that you're doing. So,
and Scripture tells us that's why we all fall short too.
Right.
You know, like we all need grace.
Right.
That's the other part. So anybody that tries to judge, you know, like what does it say? Like try to get the speck out of your brother's eye when you have a beam in your own. Right. You know?
And another thing that that you had mentioned is about being the morale police. Like the fact that an individual might think they are the morale police lets you know right there that something is wrong. Like, bro, you not it. Because again, that's not Christianity as we know it in our Bible.
So other question, I'm sorry.
No, that's essentially it. Like if somebody claims to be that, you already know to run for the hills.
Yeah. All right, because you also made me, because you said a couple of things that stood out to me, and something Razor did too. But first on yours is the like the end times, the last days.
Yeah.
Like that's something. Like you have some denominations that believe that we've been in the last days, the end times, since Christ's resurrection.
It's possible.
Right?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, right? So, but it's like every generation I know that I've heard in my lifetime, and I heard, remember old folks in church and everybody talking about these are the last days. Look how evil it is. I've been hearing that forever.
Right.
So then that makes me think, how do we measure that? Right? It's like, what about now? I mean, technically, people say that every generation gets worse, right? You know, that's when you know you old. When you be like these kids nowadays, you know you old. But you know, but my point is though, is is it really?
No,
like
it's not like that's now that I'm older and feel like I can speak on it and stand on a couple things that like what we were talking about. One of the reasons that things are done to us, Christian or not Christian, just the Black community, is because we don't stand up in the face of adversity the way that they do. They will go to war and destroy and pillage and whatever. We won't do that. So theoretically, are you going to listen to somebody that won't stand up for themselves? Right. And then one of the other things that you said, Charles, about like being in the end times, right? I think that people always equate the end times to human lifespan. But if you're talking about a person who doesn't have a beginning or end because they are the beginning and the end, then what is end times when we're talking about God? I think that we too often put human characteristics on God and God characteristics on human. And in the midst of that, the confusion starts. So then we have people, let's say such as myself, that have the ability to explain their thought process better than the next person. And other people might not agree with it, but I can't really explain how I feel. So then I adopt your process. And in the midst of that, I find myself standing with some things that I might not generally agree with. So that's why you have And you'll see that when you'll have Republicans voting on the Democratic side and Democrats voting on the Republican side because they don't really agree with what's going on right here. So when we look at questions like what you said, there really is no defining answer, because if we truly believe in God, God doesn't respect any person more than the next person. He loves them all. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, who is he choosing? So we had, I've heard, Black scholars say, we are the original people and we are, all the good things that God created. But if he came for them and he came for me, just because I came first does not mean that I'm going to get preferential treatment in Christ.
Right. A way that I've heard that, a way that I've heard that sort of rebuttal is, why would powers that be throughout history try so hard to keep us down or to erase our history? You know what I mean? And all those kind of things.
Because the last doesn't want to stay last.
True that. And because they know our history better than we know it. Yeah. And if they can control it, so a man thinketh, so he is.
Right. 100%.
So even when we break it down to voting, people be like, I don't want to vote. And I've heard it said the number one reason why you should vote is the fact that there's people who have tried by everything from murder to legislation to stop you from voting. If it wasn't important, if it didn't matter, why would they care? And why would they try so hard?
Greed, power, and control.
Yeah.
But that always speaks about what they do. But what about what we do? It doesn't matter what you do. If my yes is yes and my no is no, then I stand for what I stand for and I don't for what I don't. And I'm sorry, my community does not operate that way unless we're doing it against each other as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been all over the place in rough environments, and I could step on somebody's shoe and lose my life. But somebody can do all kinds of things and be a lighter version of myself and won't nobody say a word, be it for job insecurities, being judged, being looked upon as ghetto. We literally allowed ourselves to be put in a box because of the word ghetto. We try so hard not to be certain things that at times Black people don't know who they are. Now I know the doctor coming. I know Dr. B coming, you know what I'm saying? But it's the truth about it, man. We can congregate for things that require entertainment. But when it comes for if this generation that we're in had to march and get bit by dogs and sprayed with water hoses, we ain't gonna do it. And they know we're not gonna do it because all they got to do is threaten a few things, right? All they had to do is say that the food stamps ain't coming on the 1st, and everything went amok. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
And that's that miseducation that we got to unlearn.
No, that's not a miseducation.
But I feel that's taught behavior. I really do, because I feel like that's that, like our brother Gene says, like that's that post-traumatic slave syndrome.
No, I'm with you, but it's not a miseducation. They taught it and we accepted it. It wasn't miseducation.
But we didn't have a choice. But at one time we didn't have a choice.
You always got a choice. Everything in life has a choice. Everything has a choice.
But my point though is that things like the Willie Lynch documents taught how to colonize and break people, right? So we see that all over the world, and to the point to where generations down the road, there's this like traumatic, there's generational trauma is what I'm trying to say.
I do believe.
You know what I mean? It's where it's like it has been ingrained that you don't fight certain people and that you can't win and you can't beat certain people at their game. They're in charge, they're superior, all this stuff. If generation after generation, every time your activists and your leaders get killed, at some point, like that's going to leave an indelible mark in your brain. Like maybe they ain't want to fight no more.
People that kill people that look like you, or more white people that kill people look like you in our generation.
Facts. Yeah, but that's my point, though.
No, I'm just saying, we know like certain neighborhoods not to go in at certain times, so we know how to
because you fight who you can fight. Like when you can't get to the source of your problem,
Yeah.
then you're gonna take it out whoever's near you. No different than the man that get beat up at work all day, but he's scared to say something to his boss, so he go home and take it out on his family. Same thing.
That's true.
You know?
That's true. But it's still like what Max said in the earlier thing that we were talking about. Like, when is it going to come a time when we say, I'm not going to be fearful. I'm not going to be scared. I'm not going to blame everybody else for the reason that I'm down. And
Yep.
like, you used to hate when Denver said, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That joke used to make your hair fall when he said it. But in actuality, it is a true statement. When our sons get knocked down and they crying, we tell the women, stand back, let me talk to my son, get up.
Facts. Oh, I'm totally
You know what I'm
with you.
saying?
That's why I say it don't matter
Until-
who's in office. The community has to, at some point, got to turn that corner.
But y'all, until that child gets some age on him, right? And let's say the relationships separate, and now you got a boy being raised by, and women, I'm sorry, you got a boy being raised by a mom who has a woman's mindset in a man's body, because they'll be what they see. As which kind used to tell us all the time,
Dr.
Daniel.
Oh, both, all of them.
Yeah.
100 black
He
men.
said, they'll be what they see. And the destruction of our families have left us at a deficit. And it should not be. To become a man, you can only be taught by a man. Period, point blank. Because anything that our counterparts say that a man should do is based off of what they have seen somebody else do that they think is going to be a good attribute, or things that they have learned that they're like, no, this is too harmful. I don't want my son growing up treating people this way, right?
What is becoming a man?
Well, that's the thing. It's like becoming a man is becoming the older version of what brought you into this world. Well, not the women brought you into the world, but what sowed seed into the woman. So whatever he is, whether it's a hard worker, whether it's the last line of defense, first line of defense, just learning to stand up and pee, and like all these things, responsibility, all these things become a man. Can people pour into you to create that? 1,000%. You need it all. But in our community, we don't have it all. We got the government as the daddy. We got the hurt woman as the matriarch, patriarch, breadwinner, head of household, disciplinarian, giver of love, giver of life, everything. So it's unfair that the women have to do what they're doing. It's completely unfair. But our community shows you that there are 1,000 young men that nobody wants their daughters having kids by. They're garbage. I'm sorry. And it's not their fault. It's what they're dealt with, what they're dealing with. And now, who fight the most in school? The females. They go crazy, they pull hair, does all this type of stuff. So now you got boys walking around with guns. That lose their mind and do crazy stuff because they're scared to use their hands. Because a man will make his son, oh, you smelling yourself? Come, let's go out in the yard. But because
a good daddy will.
But we got so many females that will intervene and don't even want you to tell the boy crap, that we left with this garbage that we call a society now.
I feel what you're saying, but
that's my opinion.
Yeah, and I feel what you're saying.
it.
Like, but I would rather a good woman raise a young man than a bad man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, 100%. You need them both. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you should.
I don't mean one than the other. No, I mean you need them collectively both. If the relationship does not work, that does not mean that he does not have the responsibility to the community to make sure that his son is going to be a vibrant part of that community. You know what I'm saying? And he knows what's in that boy because it's part of him.
Yeah.
Regardless of who he look like, he's in there. But we got so many people trying to erase the other half of the parent.
And that's what we're dealing with too. That's another part of, like, you see the separation of families. And I feel like black people in
But it's
particular,
only for black people.
But check it out
Like,
though.
I mean, the
Like,
intention. The government ain't running around trying to break up everybody, every other nationality's family. People come from other countries that can't even speak English.
So
and they don't treat them like they do.
So
us.
systematically, it's been that way. But I feel like that's been a change recently with the immigration stuff when it comes to Latinos, because there is instances to where kids are getting taken away from families, like parents and kids are being separated.
They the new Negroes.
Facts.
That's it.
Facts. Like that's my whole point. And so I feel like we as a people should be the most sympathetic to that, knowing our history in this country.
No, we need to mind our business.
But what I'm saying, though, is that we shouldn't be turning the eye like when it comes to that vote, to when it comes to saying, is this what I want my representatives to be voting for? Should they be voting for ICE agents to go into somebody's house? And half the time, these folks have been citizens and things like that. They just look a certain way, or you may think of something a certain way about somebody, and that gives you the right to just pull them over in the middle of the street, take the mom out the car, take the kid, and then they don't know where the other one's going.
Sound like you're talking about the Ku Klux Klan with black people. Sound like you're talking about the Willie Nelson.
Absolutely.
Right. But
That's my point.
Nobody, like Wes said, was coming to save us, right? But everybody expects us to grab the sign, grab the flag, march, and do all these other things. And all I'm saying is that it needs to be transactional. Stop it's another form of slavery for black people because everybody tries to make us feel guilty about what we're doing.
I can agree with that, but then I don't agree with the folks though who don't care though. Because that's still human lives.
Everybody cares.
Like it's being treated unfairly. So I totally feel you to where like we got our own fight that we still trying to overcome, but we still should care. But
yeah, I mean,
Max,
I do
disagree
in the sense that we cannot, or should not rather, walk and chew gum at the same time. I mean, that's just not, this conversation started out talking about biblical principles, if you will.
Yeah, God let Trump
and so that we should not be as a, because I was trying to tie it back. But anyway.
Well, you know how racist it.
No, that's the thing. We're not monolithical people.
But the point is that, no, we should not just, it's not just not our business and turn a blind eye.
Oh, no. I said, if that's what I'm saying, it's not our business, right? Everybody has what they need to stand up for. When you deplete your resources and hand them out somewhere else, you're left with a deficit. It's a sad frog that won't praise his own pond. So if I'm not willing to fight for what I believe in, tooth and nail, if I got some left to give somebody else, then that means I didn't fight as hard as I needed for myself. Period, point blank.
I
disagree with that.
Then why is our society the way that it is if y'all got such a different way of looking at it?
Because we're not fighting together and as we should. But that does not mean that you have nothing to give to someone else going through the same type fight.
If I haven't given all that I can to my fight, I should not be looking nowhere else.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, saying it that way is different. Now I get what you're saying.
I'm saying it the way I talk, but it's the same thing. If I did not give everything to my household, I should not be giving anything outside my household. And then if I do come up in a bad situation, I don't have a right to ask nobody to help me because I depleted myself helping somebody else outside of my own circle. That don't make no sense to me.
Yeah, so we need to do a better job replenishing each other, helping take care of each other. Because I don't feel like any of us should end at net zero. You know what I mean? I feel like that, just like we circulate that dollar, I feel like that energy should be the same.
Yeah, and it's not a deal where somebody's asking Razor to go out and do all the fighting. This is a communal thing. This is a human, it's a mankind thing.
You help your community, Max.
So you can't be depleted if you fighting with however many people fighting with you.
Max, the way we help our community at this point is everybody taking care of their household to the fullest of their ability.
That's where it starts.
That's what builds good community.
Yes, that's where it starts.
Because if your roof is leaking and I'm living in the Taj Mahal, but you sitting around on a video game and you letting your woman go to work, or you smoking cigarettes and drinking liquor when you can't pay your bill, don't ask for no services. Like, that's how I look at it. Did you give all that you needed to in your house? And if your answer is no, get out my face. That's the way I look at it. Now, will I collectively say, let's help? Right, but my heart of hearts is if you're not doing everything that you know that you can do, because everybody's different. Some people, they got a little more to give, but they gave it all. And this person, I couldn't ask my children to pick up the same weight that I can. But if he picking up his 5 pounds took all his effort, and my 100 pounds took all my effort, we gave it all. And that's not what we're doing. And yet kumbaya, somebody else over here hurting. Man, I'm not with that, me personally. And it ain't got nothing to do with Christian or whatever. My thing is, did I do all with the talents that I had to protect what God made me dominion over? And 99% of the people that I talk to and look at cannot say that's the truth.
Now, I feel you, yeah. Like, so when you look at it as a whole like that, that makes total sense. But an analogy that I would give you as well would be when we look at even this entity here that we're sitting in, when it comes to like civil inclusive media. Now, you remember there was a couple of us in the beginning that was like, nah, we ain't gonna do that, dog. Like they just gonna take, we ain't gonna reap the benefit. But it took the trust, it took the conversation of showing and proving, right, to say that this relationship can work. So that's just an example of what I'm saying is, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes working with your brother is going to make you stronger. It shouldn't deplete you. If it is, that's not a good relationship.
Yeah, but most people don't work with you. Most people,
I get most, but I'm talking about good brotherhood. But I get most people.
Good brotherhood does not really exist in its totality in today's society.
Yeah, but you just make an argument now.
No, think about it. They create things that because they know people think that way. They create filters. They create all these social media things. They create AI. They create all these things because you're not happy with yourself. So they just.
But I'm not talking about them.
No, I'm talking about us.
Yeah,
I'm talking about us. Yeah. Like most people in the heart of hearts aren't happy with some aspect of their life, but if you were to test it by the fire and say, are you giving all that you can give? And some of that not giving is not doing certain things. Are you not going out? Are you not drinking? Are you not, if you're not spending money that you know you need for something else? Like, are you doing everything that you can do? And that's what I look at. So if I don't feel like you doing that, I don't want you asking me to help you on some other avenues, because now you want to spend yours on what you want and then beg for what you need. I'm just not with that.
Yeah, so you made that point, but I was moving past that to how when you do have good tight circles that can work together to make sure that everybody's eating. Is what I'm talking about. Like no different.
I haven't seen it.
But that's not true, Razor.
No, I haven't seen it.
Like, but I'm talking about as simple and microscopic as when you yourself has talked about when you reach out to me, Sarad, Aaron, folks like that. We are brothers that we feel like I can call him and he gonna give me a good word, or if I need help, that brother there. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm saying
but in actuality, in being honest, every last one of us got a limit of what we're willing to give or can give in a situation.
Facts,
right.
Yeah.
But so that's what y'all are talking what y'all were talking about. But we need to
replicate that in the community is my point.
I understand that, but we give the facade of I got you up until a certain point, right? But we don't know that point is there until the ask comes in. When, let's say for instance, our kids ask us for something, it's like hella high water. Max said it on the show before. It's hella high water on how we're gonna make it happen and make it done, right? But our circles, like what Max said earlier, were we freer when our bodies were chained but our minds were free, or vice versa, right? And that's what today's society is. Everybody has everybody until you ask for something that I feel might put me in a deficit. But if it was a collective gathering of all resources pulled together that we're pulling from, then you're not worried about the ask, because if I need, I know it's going to be here. And I don't see that out of nobody now. I mean, I know it makes people feel uncomfortable, but I don't see that.
I feel like I have that, and I'm sad that you don't feel like you have it too, brother.
Right.
That's because this brother will tell somebody, no.
That's what it is.
Yo, I would let a child go hungry if it's going to affect my children. Like, I mean, that's my truth.
We got to take care of home first, for sure.
That's what, so now you agreeing with me. Take care of home first does not have a caveat. It either is or it isn't. Your yes is yes or your no be no. So if I'm taking care of home, that means I'm taking care of home, period. That's just the way I see it.
All right.